Hey, thanks for tuning in today, folks. So, we're going to do a neo-traditional cat tattoo today because it's a client request, and I figured I'd just go ahead and expose my design process, how I'm working my way through it, how we're going to incorporate some of the client's needs and wants into it, right? Like they had ivy around the house. It's a memorial tattoo for a cat. Maybe I already said that. And so there's just going to be a couple things. See if we can include their name and like a little, tag on the collar there. Yeah, just some fun stuff. I think I'm gonna have to break this video up into like a 3-part thing because I'm trying not to like do 50-minute videos. I think I should try to get them down to like 20 minutes or God, even less. So we might have to break it up into like the overall design, getting the outline done, doing the blacks, then doing the color. I don't know, maybe it'll be 4 videos, maybe it'll be less. I'm not exactly sure how to get this going to break my videos down smaller. So anyway, if you're willing to sit through a bunch of that stuff with me, I'm Clay, the Techie Tattooer, and it's time to draw some kitty cats.
So, first off, I do have to apologize. It is way hot out here in Washington, and I had no idea that the fan was so loud in the recording. And so, yeah, I'm having to do an after the fact voiceover. So, if like normal, my hand stuff doesn't line up with what you expect me to see, that's what's going on in this one. Sorry about that. I had to trash the audio. So, we've got a cute little kitty face. She sent a bunch of really good things. I'm explaining here how I really like this positioning. I would love to be able to include that cute little paw in there, but it's probably too small an area. But I love how that little white spike on her chest it's super cool. And now we're talking about the differences between how I like that face position, but I don't really like how her ear and her neck were framed. Um, and so it's going to be kind of this whole. I end up using that sepia image on the left, but I'm using the other images as well, just to kind of talking about the things she wants, like making sure the cat's eyes are yellow. Her name was Moo. Ivy around the plant or around the house where she grew up. Just interesting, fun considerations in order to make this tattoo a subtle memorial piece, right? Where it's not, the classic angel wings and halo, but instead we're going for just a more, in my opinion, artistic representation. Here is the location on her arm where she would like it to go. And this is me discussing the fact that we've got to make sure we go below the ditch or that crease there in the elbow, face it the same direction that the butterfly is facing in, and then the considerations for how much, how big, I guess, we get to make the cat head because we have to, it's not negotiable that we got to get that cute little chest triangle in there. That's just too much of what makes this cat such a unique little creature. And it's very specific, with the white whiskers, yellow eyes, cute little bib, right? And so that's really what I'm just making sure that I'm talking about, focusing on here, getting rid of the references that I don't need, just clicking that check mark there to mute those layers instead of actually sliding to the left and then deleting them. Yeah, and this isn't actually the reference I ended up using, but I am just kind of sliding it around, seeing how it looks. I do like that it's a classic, like almost perfect 3/4 view. The problem is she's looking down too much, and that ear, in my opinion, isn't quite poking out high enough for what I would like to see. But it's such a great reference. Also, the other sepia colored drawing photo, it just the way that triangle bib comes down, it's just gonna be so perfect to point down and just, yeah, it's gonna look so good along the forearm, that positioning. It's just, I just had to go with it. So we just clicked on hue, saturation, and brightness underneath that magic wand tool set, and we're going to use this slider of brightness to just kind of bring the brightness up a little bit. And then I don't know if I actually end up using curves much, Yeah, there we go. Look at how much cleaner and crisper that is now. And so you can do a lot with that hue, saturation, and brightness and those curve tools. You're going to want to experiment with them, see what you can do there. They're super, super handy when you're dealing with black and white photos or trying to just use photo references in general. And maybe you want to turn a color photo into black and white, right? In that hue, saturation, and brightness, you can just take the saturation all the way down and it becomes a completely grayscale photo. Super, super handy tools. But there's all kinds of tutorials out there on YouTube for how to really maximize your Procreate. So what I'm doing now, I know it's kind of a little bit hard to see, but I'm making sure that the cat head is sized up. Hopefully you can see, and it's not too many confusing images on top of each other, that border of her forearm. And then what I'm doing is lining up that little bib spike underneath that cat, right? To make sure that exactly we're getting not too much into the ditch and making this little cute little bib arrow poke right down even along her forearm there. Just because it's such a great feature of this cat, and it's gonna translate who it is and still give us a really nice design for our tattoo. So I'm going to go ahead and speed things up to like probably 5x in the next little bit here, but I do just kind of want to go over what you're going to see me doing is using pink as my outline color because I know that black is going to be hard to see on top of the black cat image. And so you're going to see me using pink and red for my outline colors. And then what I'm actually going to do is jump into that magic wand tool again, hue, saturation, and brightness, and we are going to drop the brightness on that layer, that outline layer that's red and pink, and all the way down into black, and it's going to turn our outline black for us. So you don't actually have to outline in black. You can outline in all kinds of different colors and then change that in your hue, saturation, and brightness tool. So yep, here I am. Oh yeah, I think I tried to choose green at first, and I'm like, oh, that's not working at all. So anyway, let's 5x it and just go over the speed view of getting some ivy in there and really fleshing out this design. Yep, taking my stabilization way down because I have a tendency to sketch with my stabilization really, really low, but then actually do my real line work with my stabilization much higher. And yeah, so like I promised, pink outline, doing little tiny micro adjustments here and there. I squish it a little bit smaller because I know that I'm going to want to put the ivy over the head a little bit, give it a nice swoop, I guess we'll say. Yeah, and so this is me just kind of showing you how we're gonna change the outline after the fact, but I've already explained that. So sorry, the voiceover and the dewy stuff on the video isn't quite lining up perfectly. Um, yeah, this cat ends up having like a really wide head, and I didn't realize how wide it was. Personally, I'm trying to make it like sleeker and more narrow and more kind of like you know, sphinxy Siamese cat looking, but this girl's not. She's a little chubby faced girl, but she's got them cheeks in there, and so it does take me a little while to kind of get used to that and really be authentically true to that, and make sure that she's looking the way she needs to look, so that this cat is a faithful representation, even if it's going to be a more cartoony style. That it's a truly faithful representation of my client's kitty cat. So that's what I'm talking about here is, showing like, yeah, it's a lot wider than I expected it to be. Um, so yeah, you know what? We're going to 10x. Boom. And so here I'm talking about again more of the unique things about this cat. The fact that she actually only has two whiskers that poke out of her eyeball. And I that's what I was looking at the other photos and I'm like, wait, that's for real. She's got like white whiskers. Sure, absolutely. We've already talked about that. But the little eyebrow whiskers she only has two of them. And it's ridiculous. It's super, super cute. But those are the kind of things that your client is, maybe even if they don't notice and nobody else notices, it helps, or rather I think as an artist that it's important to include those kinds of details, and make sure that you're representing what your client really, really wants in hopefully fun and interesting ways without, they're subtle. It's tiny. It doesn't really matter. But at the same time, I do think it does because while this isn't a portrait of her cat, it's a neo traditional piece. It's not going to be 100% authentic. It's going to be cartoonized or whatever you say for that, but we still want to be as true to the real life reference as possible with that wide face, those bright yellow eyes, those two silly little eyebrow whiskers. And as all of those elements come together, we can just make sure that our client is going to be super stoked on their design. And you know what? Maybe she will notice. Maybe this is just one of those funny, cute little things where the universe is pushing me in the right direction. So, yeah, style rant over, but you can see that what I'm really doing right now doesn't take a whole lot of voiceover work. It's just download some Ivy from the intronets and make your reference look kind of like realistic Ivy. Um, Make it swirly, make it cute. This is me just testing how much into the ditch do I want this to go? Do I want it to come down? It's just about playing with balance, playing with what you think is going to look good. And eventually you're going to make something awesome if you like flow and doing all that stuff. And I do think it is great to use photo references all the time. You guys see me trace photo references. You guys see me stick them off to the side like I'm doing now. Um, it helps, I am a firm believer in quote unquote representing reality and using reality to say, okay, well, this is what it is, but I'm going to go ahead and consciously make a different choice instead of going from memory and maybe doing something that you're doing based on a gap in your knowledge base, and not necessarily a choice you're making 100% based on, yeah, okay, that's cool, but I'm going to make it neo traditional, right? So I think those things are important for artists to do, to make those conscientious, intentional choices. I mean, speaking of intentional choices, you can see that I'm putting like these little like the three lines that are these lines here. These, I guess we'll call them veins. I'm not really sure what to call that. That is in the ivy. They're done in green. You can see them there in that ultra light green. But I think because this is a neo traditional piece, and I don't end up doing this even in this video, but as I've been sitting with the drawing here all day today, just thinking about stuff as I've been doing my laundry, blah blah blah. Not spending real conscious time, so don't get that confused or twisted there. But hopefully you sit and you think about these things because I do that too much. And I guess I'm promoting doing that too much. I'm going to get rid of those three lines, I think. And we're going to do a much more classic neo-traditional gradient fill on these guys so that they're going to look flatter and more like background elements. Yeah, I think that's just going to be the choice. And so I'll probably end up, doing my classic duplicate the entire line work just in case I don't like my current choices, version control, this, that, and the other. Um, but yeah. So anyway, these are just things to, as I'm telling the audience to be intentional about the choices you're making. Right. I was just kind of drawing from reality, doing what I thought I needed to do, but now that I'm kind of looking at it, I'm going, oh, gosh, is that really what I want to do? And I may keep it, right? What we're going to do is in upcoming videos, we're going to actually do this full color. I don't recommend sending your clients full color or spending the time to do full color renders of the art you're giving them. I am only doing that because this is great for a YouTube series to show you guys my process. I do not tell clients that I send them full renders of their pieces. I let them know that when I send them their artwork, it is only going to be the outline. It will not be a full render. So yeah, when you see me doing this full render here in this video series, That is not my classic client process by any means. It's just good content. And as we're making this final pass, you can see me even still, always, every pass you make with your line work, including and up to the actual tattoo lines you're doing. Clean it up, make it better, add more dynamic, curvy Bezier, this, that, and the other, right? Never let any little mistake transfer all the way through into the tattoo itself, right? Notice how I added little ear tufts, the tiny ear tufts. Does that really matter? No, it doesn't really matter, but it's so cute. It totally matters. Those details, right? That love that you put into your design that you're just going to show just every little bit. And it's because this is a foozy, floofy, fuzzy cat, right? And I got to figure out a fun way to kind of represent that in a neo-traditional style. How am I going to show how scruffy looking this cat kind of is? She's got that really spiky mid-length fur, right? And a lot of neo-traditional tattoos, they don't they go for a much slicker, sleeker, just more soft gradient kind of color treatment. Even in black, it doesn't matter, right? Just in general, that's the style of neo-traditional. And how am I going to represent the very foofy nature of this kitty, even though she's a short-haired cat? And so those are the kind of things I'm thinking about as I'm doing the line work, right? It's that multi-level thought process. Well, where as you're, in your Zen brain, just going through, tracing things, thinking about stuff, I'm thinking about where am I going to put the lighter grays? Where am I going to put the highlights in her? And then how am I going to use those highlights? You'll see I actually go through and outline in a really thin line where her highlight colors are going to be, but I'm still not 100% set on that. I want those highlight lines to be smoothed out areas like that. Go check out some, just Google neo-traditional cats or neo-traditional woman faces in general. You'll actually see, not that cats and women faces are the same, I'm just saying, you'll actually see a lot of times that the lines that I'm going to put in the cat's face here, they'll actually do those lines in like a really, really thin, like 3 round liner, and leave those in the actual art itself to create greater definition and an interesting stylistic choice in the gradients and in the different colors of a neo-traditional tattoo. You actually see it all the time. These lines here that I'm drawing, right? You will see them put in black for real. I mean, sometimes it's light brown. It depends on the artist, blah, blah, blah. But you see them put in and left in. And it gives it this smooth, interesting, paint by numbersy, watercolory, fun, almost ethereal feel. And I love it. I like it. It was kind of the original intent here going with this because it's going to look great. But I'm not sure that keeping those lines smooth like that is going to be super authentic to the foofy fuzzy kitty that we have here that you just want to squish your face into. So again, I think about this stuff too much because I love my job and I love doing art for a living. You don't necessarily have to think about it this much, but I do recommend it because I have found that clients love it. They can tell. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you're like, oh my gosh, whose grandma cooked this? Why do I taste the love? Tattoos are exactly the same, man. You got to get people tasting the love in your tattoos. It's just a thing. It's what I believe in. Clay, stop talking. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Mapping out my highlight areas so that I know where to put the lighter grays and then like the mid-tone grays and whatnot. And I know that's really kind of impossible for me to communicate in this tutorial, sort of like which is going to be the mids and but it's just a standard way that neo-traditional is done. And I thought it would look great for this, but I'm just spending way too long letting you know that those smooth lines, I'm probably going to try to figure out how to make them a little bit fuzzier. Those areas are still going to be the light and dark areas, but I won't make a fuzz. I like the kitty. I like all kitties and doggies and squirrels. And oh, yeah. Anyway, so just finishing things out here, getting these final little swirls in, spending way too much time just making them nice and party, pretending I care because, swirls look good, right? But you also have to understand, like, these swirls are going to be so tiny. Like, look at how big her arm is, right? These are not going to be big swirls. This is not stuff that, yeah, I like to spend too much time doing it. Now I'm just getting everything ready where I'm like, do I want it? Nope. I'm actually just going to duplicate the entire piece of art. And then, yeah, we're going to go in, squish everything down onto one layer. Just squish. Super easy. Procreate's amazing. So good. Get rid of my little references that I'm not going to need. And then we go over to the magic wand tool. Oh, right. Of course, I duplicate everything. I just do it. Magic wand tool, hue, saturation, and brightness. Brightness all the way down. And now we got black lines. Boom. Super, super easy. And yeah, that's this stage of the outline, right? I'm just kind of, moving things around, seeing, how it looks without any art behind it, giving myself a nice little clean area to look at it from. But, yeah, that's it there. Erase out the little schmutzy things because I accidentally squished the layers together. I got a little overzealous there. And so as you could see, I've got some crossover lines that I would normally erase in separate layering mode. But yeah, oh well. This is what happens when you're doing tutorials and trying to talk at the same time. I mean, I was talking during this, so, now I'm talking again. But that's it, folks. This is the piece. Like I said, I might get rid of those 3 lines, but other than that, I think we're pretty happy with this design so far, right? Of what we've got. Yeah, stay tuned, stick around, and we'll absolutely do the. Hopefully, I think we'll be able to get the color done in one video, right? This video is only like 20 some odd minutes long, so I'm thinking I should be able to fast forward my way into doing a another 20 some odd minute video for the color. So not 4, just 2. Hopefully, cross your fingers for me. And of course, I gotta always make those last few micro changes because I'm neurotic and yay, ADHDT, whatever. Boom. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.